Welcome to my beginner smocking series. In this video, I'm covering all the supplies that you need to start smocking. Starting out with fabric. Now when choosing a fabric, you want something fairly thin because you are going to be pleating it up, and anything too thick is hard to pleat and can look very bulky if you do manage to get it pleated. So I typically use broadcloth because I find it to be not overly thick, but also not so thin that it ends up being a little too see-through. Batiste is another option that I see used a lot. I don't use it because it just seems to be harder to find. Flannel is also an option when you are doing smocking, especially if you're wanting to do like a nightgown or something like that. I would personally consider it to be the thickest weight that I would go, and it is a little tricky because of that, so I don't necessarily recommend starting there if you are a beginner. But really, most quilting cottons are a good weight for using in smocking. Now you may notice that here I only have solid fabrics. And that's because for me, if I'm going to take the time to do any kind of smocking as a design feature, I want it to stand out. And solids are the easiest for that because I just know that it's going to pop. In addition to the fabric, you'll need a way to pleat it. Now you can get a smocking pleater, which does make it much easier to pleat the fabric. However, it is a bit expensive and they aren't necessarily easy to find. I actually bought mine used off of eBay. And if you're just starting out, it's really not necessary because you can hand pleat your fabric. So for hand pleating your fabric, you'll need a few things. You'll need, of course, thread. I actually recommend using a contrasting thread to your fabric. So something like if you're doing a lighter color, you'll want something bright like red or black. Some sewing needles. The more the better. You can get by with just one if that's all you have, but I personally like to have several. You'll also need a ruler that has markings every 1/8 of an inch, and some kind of heat erase pen. Either this is a heat erase one or there are the ones that are water soluble. You'll also of course need scissors, both for cutting your fabric and for cutting thread. For the actual smocking, you'll need an embroidery needle and embroidery floss. And that's really all you need. If you cut out the smocking pleater, you can get most of these items actually just at Walmart fairly inexpensively, and that's assuming you don't have them already, which if you already do any type of sewing, you probably have the majority of it anyway. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for another handmade happening.